This will be your pen tool assignment to learn how to draw with the pen tool. What we're going to do is we're going to import a bitmap graphic, which is a rasterized graphic which is pixel based. We'll place it on a layer. We'll lock the layer, then create a new layer, and on that new layer we will use the pen tool to draw a new logo tracing the bitmap. Then we will delete the bitmap graphic and we will be left with a vector drawing of the logo. I'm going to start a new file for this. New, ActionScript 3, and click OK. Now to import a bitmap graphic, we basically have two choices. I'm going to go up to File, Import, and we have again two choices on how to import this. One, import to stage, which would mean that it would land directly on our stage in the currently selected layer. Or two, import to library, where it would just go inside of our library and we would actually have to go to the library, drag it out and apply it onto the stage. I'm going to go import to library and grab two different graphics because we've got two assignments here. Now it's already brought me to the folder where my graphics sit, and you'll have to download these off of the website. So I can grab both of these at the same time. I can highlight one, and then with my command key on the Apple or my control key on the PC, select any other choices in the list, and I will click open, and then pop open my library. And you can see here, if I highlight them, you can see what the graphic is. Now, I'm just going to bring one out to demonstrate how I want you to set this up, but the idea is that you reproduce these graphics with your pen tool so that you can have a vector version of that file at the end of the day. Let me close this for a minute. I'm going to expand my view on my timeline. I had it set to tiny, but I don't need to have it to tiny for this because I will be working on a single frame. I'll set that to normal. And I have one layer here. I can actually name that layer right now. I can double click on the name. And I'll call this bitmap. You can see the layers here. We've got a show or hide layer, lock or unlock, and outline. So if I click on any of these dots, it will either show or hide, lock or unlock. So I do want to put my bitmap on this layer, so I can go to my library with this layer selected, drag the graphic in. I'll close my library because I don't have a lot of room. I'm actually going to reduce my view in the stage temporarily. I'll go 50% and just try to center that as much as I can. Okay, so I'm happy with my position there. I'm going to lock that layer. So I'm locking the layer now. Okay, so now I need to create a new layer. If you look all the way down at the bottom here, there's a little icon and it says new layer. I will click that now. And it always creates a new layer above the currently selected layer. I'm going to name that as well, so I'll double click it. And I'll call it Crush Logo. Hit my enter key. And I've done a lot of stuff here. I think I'm going to save my file before going any further. So File, Save As, and it's gone directly to my project folder, so I'll just call this crush.fla and make sure it's a Flash CS5 document and click Save. Alright, the easy part is done. Now on my Crush logo layer, I'm going to expand my view to 100%. And with the spacebar down, it turns the cursor to the hand tool, and that lets me drag my stage around. If I want to zoom in, on the Mac it's Command plus, on the PC it's Control plus. You can see I can zoom in quite closely for detail, and to zoom out, again it's Command minus on the Mac, Control minus on the PC. So I'm back to 100% here. So let me go and select the normal pen tool and start to draw. So I will zoom in because I will get better accuracy. So I'm zooming in. Now I'm holding my space bar down. And I have my pen tool. What I will do is I will trace the white letters here. So I'll make my fill. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Strategically, this is probably a good way to go. I'll make my fill none temporarily and then fill it with the color after. Because that way, when I'm drawing, it's not going to fill in and kind of block what I'm looking at. So let me go to my bucket here. And to say fill none, you just go to this little box with the red line through it. And for my stroke, I'll try to pick something close to that green and zero in on it maybe a little bit later. Well, that's pretty close. Okay, so I've established my colors. My fill is none. My stroke is the green. Let me just highlight the properties again, because I can see my stroke is set to 6. I'll start it at 2, hit my enter key, and see how thick that is. Okay. So I'm going to go up a little higher. Actually, 6 might be appropriate here after all is said and done. Let me go back to 6. Okay, and now I'm going to click here, and then start to draw the curve. You can see what I'm doing. I can see the nature of the line. Now I can go back and edit this, which is very typical. But start to draw that. Now the stroke is down the middle of the line. Now if I want this to be a sharp corner, I can click on it once, and you see how the handle is only left 1/2. And now when I click here, I do get that sharp corner. So to keep this a sharp corner as well, I will click and drag here and start to establish the curve. And then click on that first anchor point to close my path. Now I would definitely need to go in and correct this, so I would go in with my subselection tool and start making fixes. Now you can see where zooming in can be very useful. And of course, using that space bar to drag the screen around when I'm in zoomed mode sure helps things a lot. And then I'll zoom out, Command minus on the Mac, Control minus on the PC. Alright, so it's a little bumpy here. I would go in probably and start to fine tune this a bit. It looks like I've got some snapping going on too, and I actually don't want any snapping. So I'm going to go up to View, Snapping, Snap to Objects, turn that off. Had any of these others been checked, I would have clicked them to turn them off as well. But this should make it a little easier when I'm dragging stuff around now. And it is. Now that's getting close. Let me give you a bit of advice. It might not have been the best choice to pick the same green because it's a little hard to tell. If I pick a different color, then I may see the contrast when I'm covering it and then switch the color afterwards. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to pick red actually. I'll just highlight that with my selection tool. Double click it. Click red for the stroke. And if I want to go back and edit that some more, I do need to go back to my sub-selection tool. And then click on the line, and we can start to edit. See here, I wouldn't have really seen that had I not used a contrasting color. So I'm just sharing a few little strategies here. Not so much about technique, but about workflow. And again, fine-tuning. Fine-tuning, definitely zoom in for this stuff. And so on and so forth. So that would be the first letter. And if I want to see it without the quote template, I can turn off the visibility of the bitmap layer and see where I'm at so far. So I would do this on occasion after maybe every letter and then every shape. So I want you to trace this whole thing. Match the color by eye as best as you can. I know we're not using text right now. It's just a challenge for you to start to practice with your pen tool. See how well you can draw even the letters using the pen tool. I'm going to save my file. And that is your assignment for today, drawing with the pen tool. If you get this one done, I'd be highly impressed. If you want to move on further for bonus points, I would say just go to your library and create another logo based on the Bell logo, the CN logo, and the Canadian flag. But again, this would be bonus. Excellent practice, however, and you will be given the extra marks if you have time to tackle that. And that is the assignment for today.